What's going on, man?
I can't complain, man. Excited to be here. I know it's been long overdue.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, we finna go ahead and get into it, dog.
Let's do it, man.
For sure.
Let's do it.
Just tell me, like, how is life? How is life going for you right now? What you got going on? I know we're in a new space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? New location. So just kind of, let me know.
Yeah, I say I'm in a pivotal part in life. 29 years old. I turned 30 November 17th this year. So I feel like, just the way that I move, I'm really, I know what I like. I know what I like to do. I know what spaces I want to put myself in. Last year I was in the burbs on the outskirts of the city. And I just realized I felt like I was just getting old quick, in a neighborhood where people getting off the bus in like a two-story crib, only using two rooms, cooking on the grill. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to get back to the field where it felt like college again, where I could go to the library. So I moved downtown. It's a lot of things to do down here, a lot of places to eat. I moved down here strictly for the frequency. Like I wanted to get back in that vibe where it's like, okay, I want to wake up and be super motivated to get to it. Because when I went to New York, like 1 week in New York, it's really like a month down here. That's how it feels, the tempo. So you get a whole lot more done. And I'm looking to really capitalize because we're not going to be young forever. So, like, I'm trying to do everything possible while I'm in my prime to make this time count because it's not always going to be our time. It might be, your nephew's time, your cousin's time, people coming down behind you. But while you're young, you got to really put that muscle into everything you're doing.
For sure. Yeah, definitely, man. And it's, I know we've known each other for a little while, so really just seeing the process of everything and, just the wins, the lessons as well too, man. It's definitely, been amazing, man. And, we definitely have, just a lot of major stuff to really, talk about.
Exactly. We always have a lot in common. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's no better person to interview me. We literally from the same area. We went to Central. You know what I'm saying? We didn't talk as much, like being from our hometown, but I think, you really have a great viewpoint of seeing me become and vice versa with you as well. So, we doing it for real.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Well, let's really get into it, man. Like let's talk about, the brand. Let's talk about what you, created here, as far as just like what you have for yourself, and definitely want people to understand like this is not just something that just happened out the blue. Like you've really been cultivating this for a while, so just kind of, I guess you can really kind of tell people like how did you first come into, just this idea of what you just brought to life.
It all started in 2015. It's crazy. Like I've been pushing this brand for a very long time. It was me and my brother Ray Ray. We was in art class, and we used to. Ray Ray could really draw. Like I could draw a little bit, but not as good as Ray Ray. But we always used to be a little bit competitive. We always want to make sure we're doing our best work. So we really came up with these characters almost like names. Like he was calling himself Ray Da Vinci, and I was calling myself Picasso. And I started signing my art like that in high school. And then it just was a name that stuck, I started to use it on Instagram. Not a lot of people was using that specific name. So I kind of literally, you know, used it. I took it off and I ran with it. It's crazy. I literally did some research on Picasso. He had a friend called Carl, right? They ended up killing himself, right? And then after that, like he started, his painting started to become blue. So it was crazy when I put the Picasso together. I didn't even know that. I literally like researched that later, and that was his friend that killed himself. And I just feel like that was kind of interesting that those names had those type of connections.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But I already been building this brand ever since 2015. It was just like the P at first, and then I started getting like small little T-shirts. Nothing too crazy because I was in media. So if I was talking online on Instagram, I was like, I'm wearing all these brands. I might as well just literally just start unconsciously branding myself. I learned that from like an influencer is how you don't really have to market directly. You can just have the hat on, and your people are going to start like, wow, I always see him with that hat. So you're marketing consciously. So by the time now, like I've been building this brand since a decent time. So like people like, man, we gonna do the hats. I always see you with them. So I've been really building clientele up until that point ever since I started actually doing hats about 3 years ago. You know, for myself. Yeah. Like this is my first time offering anything to the public. I used to just I wear hats all the time, so I used to order hats and just get the feel of them. So like this prototype right here, man, it's my favorite hat.
Yeah.
Like I'm selling my favorite, and that's really what I wanted to do. Is I want to just give the world what I like to put on every single day. This is my go-to. So that's why I sent this one, and a lot of prototypes didn't make it. I like how the way this even fits,
Take us through the hat. Like honestly, just taking us through the hat. Of course, the biggest thing that I love, like I said, we was talking about it before, like, and you can kind of touch a little bit on it again, just kind of like, the process. Like this isn't something that, you just woke up yesterday and was like, man, I'm about to make a hat. You know what I'm saying? Like this is really something that you've been doing for a while. Like even when we were in school, you had different variations of this hat. You had the dad hat, you had and stuff like that. But I mean, I guess you can kind of just like go over just the hat itself, just some of your favorite features, what the hat entails, and also just with the boxing as well too.
This specific design, obviously the P, I got that on my neck. Like I just been literally, I like that specific font, so I wanted to keep it consistent with what I have for the same font on my neck, and then obviously you got the patch on the side, and it's of a picture painter. And I'll say I'm the picture painter because I can paint you a picture verbally. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't necessarily say I can draw you a picture.
Yeah, for sure.
But I can do that if I put my mind to it as well. So I wanted to, have a symbol of somebody literally painting a picture. And I feel like that is a symbol of using your imagination to get the life that you want. Like you paint a picture of yourself. Like how do you want to live? Like, what's the legacy you want to leave behind? Like, how do you plan on using your time efficiently? Like you have the power to do that, everything is internal. So I got that on the side as well. Obviously it's 3D, at the front as well. Like, it's a raised bed. So it's something that sticks out. And on the side, it literally glows in the dark.
Right.
So usually, when you cut the lights off, you'll be able to see that patch on the side, be able to glow up. And the box is literally like my favorite piece, because this is my first time ever offering a product to the world. So I didn't want to just have like what I've been seeing. Usually people start closing brands and just like, they just have just like minimum things. Like I really wanted to, if I put my name on it, like that's me right there.
Gotta be.
You know what I'm saying? So I know I wanted to create an experience more so. Like the hat is everything, but like people remember experience. I wanted to give my audience an experience as a hat. Like wow, like it just felt like a presentation. Like I wanted to make it memorable, and that's why like for this first job, everything is handwritten as well. Like if I know you, if I have your Instagram or whatever, I'm gonna leave you a handwritten message as well, just to add that special touch to it. So the box presentation, I want to make sure that was luxury. Want to make sure that I didn't play around with it. The note is that the extra personal tip, and the hat is literally my favorite out of all the prototypes I done tried.
For sure. And I know, with the picture painter, like, that's all you. You know what I'm saying? Like you are a person that, you're really good with your words and really just creating, a picture as far as like, ideas or just like the right way you should go. And I know that's like a big thing. Even just attention to the detail, the planning, the rollout as well too, the personal note, I think the experience is just super, super important. That's why it's bigger than just like, oh, this is just another hat, that you can wear. You know what I'm saying? Also, like, what kind of just made you want to do hats? Because like it could be so much more that you could do. You know what I'm saying? I know you're really big on thinking in the mind. You know what I'm saying? So did that kind of play into it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, this hat is essentially called the thinking cap.
Yeah.
Back in elementary school, they were like, "Yo, put your thinking cap on." But I've just been wearing hats for so long, bro. To be honest with you, I love hats. I feel like an outfit is not complete for me unless I have a hat on. My granddad was real big on hats as well, and my granddad was a painter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like he had his own paint company. His name was Walter Smith. So I literally have a design for him a little bit later that he was legit. Like he'll paint a house.
For
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? So he was real big on hats. But I feel like I really just want to incorporate a piece that I wear often. That's pretty much the hat vibe. And I know like this is not a stereotypical first item for people that's starting to branch into this industry to start off with. So I want to go into like a lane where, you know, I feel like I can really dominate it. Of course, putting my mind to it.
Definitely talk a little bit about the rollout before we get into the next part, as far as like, you know, just the visuals, of course, but like just the process of the rollout. I feel like you've been very strategic with just how you've been rolling things out to the masses and to the public. So kind of just talk about, you know, just that.
Yeah, so like I said, the name of the brand is Pilot P. You know, so obviously my name is Picarso. Pilot P is a character, you know, that literally, you know, uses imagination to create the world that they want. And Pilot P is always in pursuit because you know once you have a vision, once you have a dream, like you have to be in pursuit of that. You almost start the destination. So I wanted to come up with a visual that captured people that I know in their pursuit. Right. So in this specific visual, you have my brother Daryl, which he's really a dream chaser. Like he makes me proud. Because I just watch him chase his dream all the time. He literally just left ATL, you know, looking to expand in the music career. So, you know, I wanted to include him in this vision because I see him putting in work. So I literally recorded him, well, you recorded him at the studio just in his element. I wanted to capture everybody that was in this commercial in their element so people can see them in pursuit. So I got Daryl at the studio. I got Rockevius. I always knew he was real passionate about basketball for a very long time. Even when we used to work at Burger King together, I could just tell, just watching him from afar, like he really have passion when it comes to basketball. And I always admired that. We seen AI together not too long ago. Like he an AI fan just like I am.
Sure.
So I wanted to capture his love for basketball, like like what he experienced like with basketball. I feel like it's real deep. Like I feel like that's a love you can tell, you know. So I wanted to capture that. So we're gonna have him at the court, you know, today. And then Ray Ray, really one of the most talented people that I know. You know what I'm saying? At least top three for sure. Um, Back in high school, man, like he really was the one beating on the desk. He was the one, you know, that could draw. He was doing tattoos in high school. Like he even was designing my clothes in high school. Like I have an idea, I go get some fabric, and Ray Ray will put the vision together. So, you know, he's definitely 101. So I wanted to capture him and his element in Greenville, North Carolina, in his tattoo shop, just to include him. And I'm working on another piece yet. I'm not sure. You know, obviously, we'll be shooting it today. But another guy I want to get in there as well. Like he's doing some very, very big things as well. My guy Telvin. So you know he's supposed to be in. Hopefully, you know it works out and his time allows him to be able to be in this commercial. But like he is a prodigy. You know what I'm saying? Like he really can bring different types of pictures to life. And he's chasing his dreams every single day. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to put them on display while I put this hat on display because my hat is really about people like them. I'm not gonna say I'm a perfectionist because I understand the power of just putting things out sometimes. But you know, I'm not starting this clothing brand with the intent to make money. You know, it's like some people might start different brands so they can spend the money or make the money. Like it's literally been a process where I don't mind spending a little bit more time on it because it's an investment for you. You know, so I don't want to rush everything. I wanted to make sure that everything was exactly how I liked it. Was able to get the products the way that I wanted to. Was able to even get a sample of the boxes and try it out and see if I want to make any updates. And even with the visuals, you know, like I'm just taking my time because I feel like when you got something that you know is valuable to the world, there's no need to rushing it. And once you start rushing it, you can really, you know, you could just not get the same feeling that you wanted to when you first started. Like I want to have the feeling of completion.
Yeah.
After I'm done, like let me go ahead. It's almost like an album for real. Like I want to make sure, like I wouldn't want to put an album out and I feel like it could have been more to it.
For sure.
So after this goes out, it's like I literally have. I'm done with this. It's out.
Yeah.
I'm ready to create new.
Definitely. I know it's one big thing you're big on is, you know, words. You know what I'm saying? And I know, you know, just with pursuit. That's such a big word of, just like what people are doing every single day, and it can be tough, Another P word is just process, what I'm saying? It's always a process. So kind of just speak on, I know you talked about a couple of people, that are in pursuit, and I love how you're using, your people that that are in pursuit, but kind of just talk about yourself, like to your core, like what this means as far as your brand, and just like how it's able to also just tell your story of the pursuit that you've been on, just with the things that you've been able to accomplish.
It was a time in college where I literally took a free internship in New York. No housing. Like I just understood like I can get a lot of value from it. And you gotta think about a guy from the South. Like, I grew up in Macclesfield, North Carolina, you know, and that was my first time ever going to New York. Like, you when you in a small town, like, New York, you need to make sure you know what you're doing up there.
Definitely.
But I always was a person that walked by faith and not by sight, and everything always didn't make sense to the naked eye. But as you grow and progress, things was literally done on purpose, But I never was the type to live in fear. And like we had a conversation about that last night. Like once you let fear start to control your life, like fear really will seep into a lot of arenas. So even if I feel like I fear something, I'll go towards that direction. And every time I go towards that direction, I learn a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
So I feel like just the ideal of being in pursuit is really a symbol of me not living in fear and me constantly, walking by faith and not by sight, and literally creating structure along the way, So I've done a lot when I first graduated. Built several big communities, being a leader, really just showing people how to maneuver in the business world. Now my talents is streaming. I'm really doing the same thing on the first educational platform for streaming right now. So we're breaking into that lane, my business partners and I, and really just educating people, putting them on game in a way where they just not sitting on stream paying for somebody else to be entertained. They sitting on stream, they get enlightened.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like we giving value to the people in a way where it's like you can turn on just like a Netflix. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, and I'm still in pursuit.
Just with everything that I feel like you're even embodying, with being in pursuit, the process of things, like it's very mental. It's all in the mind. You know what I'm saying? So even having something, I mean, it's crazy. Like a hat can complete a fit. You know what I'm saying? It could be a great add-on, and then of course, like just it's super important to make sure that your mind is intact when you're on your certain process.
You gotta be doing something. Like you gotta get up. Don't matter what type of adversity you're facing. Like you gotta put one foot in front of the other, and you can look good while you're doing it.
Definitely. Got to.
And that's really what it's all about. Like whatever season you are in life, like make it look good.
That's true.
Like I don't care what season it is. It could be a bad season. Like if I'm in a bad season, right, I'm gonna make this bad season. I'm gonna make it look good to the best of its capabilities.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like you can't. That's really being grateful for all seasons. Mm-hmm. You're gonna learn from that as well. So like you put on your gear. You get into pursuit, and this is something that you rock. You know what I'm saying? Like when you create it. I wanted to create a hat, for people that are creative. I wanted to create a hat for people who are very intentional about, what they're planning to do with their time on this earth. Mm-hmm. So that's why I even call it a thinking cap. I want you to put this thinking cap on and get to work. All right. This is for the people that is giving effort. All right. Understand your time is going to come. And, you're literally sitting back, working on your craft, working on your skills. And, once opportunity presents itself, you're going to be overly prepared. Right. And today, every single day, I always like, okay, what's the P word? So the P word for the day is going to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, what's your favorite quote?
Preparation's never lost its time.
Preparation never lost its time. Like once you prepare, like you're going to use that information at some point in time. So, this is the type of people I want to gravitate to the brand. It's like people who are seeking something. And the future for the brand is really to be able to give messages. For right now, this is probably like the only product I'll kind of mass produce, everything is going to go more so like custom, fewer items, you know, yeah, really fewer items. And but this is like probably like the only day that I kind of like produce. We'll see, cause you know sometimes time, you know, have you biting your own words. But
That's true.
the future of this, man, I want to continue to provide high quality gear for people who are in pursuit, fashionable gear, well thought out gear. Like I'm never going to, you know, charge somebody for something that it's not worth it.
Definitely.
So I'm going to come out with the best quality. Um, if I ever give it to the public, it's my favorite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's something that I'll put on. It's something that I'll pay for. So I'm always having these things in mind as well. You know, offering something to the public.
It's not just something that you're wearing. Like it's really something that invokes a lifestyle of how you should live. You know, how you should really be able to just, you know, pursue different things and just the journey. You know, because it's not an easy journey. You know, at all. Like it is something that takes time and patience. You know, like I said, just even seeing just everything that's transpired with just the brand itself from, you know, when we first met. So, you know, I really know that this is definitely, you know, going to be very, very big. You know, very, very soon. It's already getting in people's hands, you know, and also with who you have as far as your network, and also just your following. You know what I'm saying? I know that, you know, this is really going to be big for people, you know, and people are going to be able to really relate to the story. You know, I think that's the biggest thing is it's relatable. Yeah. You're super, super relatable as a person. I feel like you have that perspective too. Like you have so many different perspectives of, you know, just things you've gone through in your life. And then also just understanding what other people are going through as well too. But it's like, we still got to get to work. We still got to get over that and, you know what I'm saying, get to it.
Sometimes things can get in the way of, you know, your mission, life, you know, it's not, sometimes it might not be the easiest, but that doesn't stop the fact that you're here on a mission and you have to be reminded of that. You got to have people around you that's going to remind you that you're on a mission. And I feel like one of the highest acts is using your time wisely. If you want to be grateful to God, be grateful on, you know, the time that he gave you. You wouldn't spend that time any type of way. When you're really grateful for the time that he gave you, you're going to use that time. And that's how you really show that you're really grateful. Like, I want to be purposeful with the time that I have here on this earth.
You got to be grateful. And, man, like I said, bro, I'm just grateful to definitely being in this process with you. You know what I'm saying? And definitely appreciate you, you know, just telling your story. Of the brand, you know what I'm saying? Also just of, you know, what you've been able to do for yourself. And I know a lot of people are really going to, you know, be taking advantage of just, you know, the product that you have, especially something that's physical. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's definitely, you know, something outside of what you do, but I feel like everything that you do is embodied within what you have here within this hat, man.
It's just an extension. It's an extension of, you know, creativity. It's an extension of perseverance. You know, I feel like this hat is just like it embodies everything that I stand for, and you know, it's something that I want to spread to other people. The mentality is what I would like for people to, you know, get from this at the very least. I've been doing business for a long time. This is personal for me because it's my product. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the first product that I offer to the world. So, major accomplishment. Literally gonna do. I'm gonna celebrate all the small wins. It makes me feel good when I see somebody that really likes the hat. Like I love when people say like, I'm gonna support your brand, but I love it even more when you actually like it.
Exactly.
Like, you know, of course I always appreciate the support, but I like it even better when you actually like what you're buying.
For sure.
Cause that was my main motive. Like I want you to like this hat. I want you to want to put it on. I want to be your favorite hat. Like usually people's favorite hat is usually like black, red, you know, so that was my intention.
For sure. Well, yeah, man. Well, I'm super excited. You know, I definitely appreciate you letting us come into your space. You know what I'm saying? And just letting us really understand what you have as far as the product and what you're, you know, giving to the world. And, you know, very, very soon, man, this is going to be all over the place, bro.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. I appreciate, you know, you for, you know, allowing me to tell my story, setting it up. You know what I'm saying, being a supportive friend as well. yeah, man, I look forward to the visuals that would be dropping. And I look forward to the progression of this vision for sure.
For sure. Well, yeah, man. Like definitely, definitely appreciate y'all. Just tuning in, and like I said, we're gonna continue to just be on pursuit of what we have going on, man. And like I said, I'm just super, super grateful. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you.
For sure.